Hello and welcome to episode 30 of the Boot Nerds podcast. JayMike, what is up?
My friend, it's good to be back. 30 episodes. That is, it's wild that we still do these because apparently people want to listen to us. We thank you for that. We're very, very thankful for the support. So keep supporting us, and we might even end at 60 one day. And who knows? Dare I say it, maybe even 100. But today we're going to talk about something very exciting, Josh. But before we do that, please remember to leave a like on the video. Leave a question in the comment section right down below where we might get an answer out to you. And also, if you haven't already, go subscribe to the Boot Nerds podcast. And if you don't want to look at particularly this face, but maybe also Josh, maybe there's cuteness overload in your head, you can go and listen to the audio-only version everywhere you listen to your podcasts. And with that, Josh, today we are going to talk about two criminally underrated football boots out there.
Exactly.
That's your cue.
And this is where I will be talking about the first update to the Mizuno Morelia Neo line in a very long time.
In a very long
time. And it is the MIJ Mizuno Morelia Neo II Beta, or is it just Neo Beta? It's Neo II Beta, right?
Neo II Beta, as far as I know, yeah.
But instead of Beta, it should stand for Beta, because it's just that much better than what we had before. That was pretty good, right?
Someone thought along about that.
No, I just thought of it now. I promise you that wasn't pre-planned. Did I look like I was prepared, Jay?
Yeah,
I'm never prepared on this podcast.
I know. So yeah, sorry about that. But let's take just a second to appreciate the sheer, beauty of the betas, because they are just better looking than everything else out there. It's just a mind-blowingly good-looking boot.
And I know what some people are thinking already. They're looking at this boot and seeing it for the first time and saying to themselves, that just looks like a regular Mizuno Morelia Neo 2, but it's not. It's not. They've actually changed pretty much everything on the boot, even if it's just a very subtle change. But all of these changes collectively make for... Look, I've always said that I thought the Morelia Neo 2 was one of the best objective performers on the market, but it was never really my cup of tea, mainly because I just didn't find them that comfortable. It was a little bit too tight, especially through the midfoot for me.
Right.
But the Beta, I don't know what they did, but it just feels incredible. This is legitimately one of my personal favorite boots to wear, even though it's totally a style of football boot that I don't really gravitate towards that much. But it's that good. It's that much better. You want to break down exactly what they've changed?
Yeah, so basically, as you said, they've more or less changed everything. So the Beta is there to try and really take the Morelia, the Mizuno speed boot into... sorry, not the Morelia. The Morelia Neo, of course. The Morelia is something very, very different. But take the Morelia Neo into really 2019 and look ahead. As you know, Beta is something... It's a code name, whatever you use for when something is in the early stages of a final product. So this is kind of like a peek into the future of what the Morelia Neo will be in the future. So they've basically gone, tried at least to make a lighter leather speed boot, which means that they have trimmed down on more or less everything. So in the middle of the boot, in the midfoot, you basically have this mesh silicone construction that we've seen on a lot of boots lately, but it's very, very thin. So it's basically just this almost textile mesh on the inside with then some silicone covering that up. Basically, as you know from the Puma Evo Speed SLs and the Adidas 99-gram boots. So that's very interesting, of course, giving you a very thin, extremely flexible, but still, it's not the most supportive upper in the world, but it does provide some sort of structure around your foot. And then you have the leather forefoot, which normally the leather used on the Morelia Neo is, of course, thinner than the one used on the Morelia 2. But this time, they've actually shaved it even thinner. I don't know how they did it. They, of course, thinned out the liner and also made the leather piece itself a little thinner, which means that you get a ridiculously tight, personal, pliable, fantastic touch. to the hand. The fit on your foot is outrageously good because the leather is so thin, which means it's so pliable and stretches so well, really molds well around the foot. And you, of course, also get a very, very barefoot-like touch on the ball. So that's basically the biggest two changes. They've also trimmed down the outsole to make it even lighter. And all in all, it just gives you a package where you have the knowledge that you're wearing a Morelia leather speed boot. But in essence, you get the sensation of wearing a leather version of basically the Vapor 1K. So you get the quality from the Neo. You get everything that's good about the Neo 2, but in a much lighter, more trimmed down package. And breathe.
Yeah, that's good. That was very good. I'm impressed. I would describe the difference like this, because what I didn't care for with the Neo 2 is you put it on your feet and there is a huge perception of quality. You feel how well made the boot is. And the leather at the toe is super soft. But I've always felt like the synthetic material that they use through the midfoot, while it's great in terms of lockdown and responsiveness and just structure, I always felt like that's the one part of the boot that I always had to adjust to. Right. Where when I put the Beta on, the second that I put it on, we were both in Japan to try these a little bit before the release.
Shout out
Mizuno. I was so surprised when I put them on how this boot basically just received my foot. Because
yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Right?
It actually receives your foot, cradles it, caresses it.
Yeah, so you lose out, like you said, you lose out on some of that structure and arguably some responsiveness because of this thinner mesh-based material. But my God, does it make the biggest difference in the world in terms of overall comfort and just how closely the boot wraps your foot in pretty much every single area. It just feels, I can't say that I've ever worn a boot that feels quite like this.
And it's a funny thing, right? Because you think that the more shaved and trimmed down a boot will be, the less comfortable it will also be. We saw that with the Evo Speed SLs and the 99-gram boots that aren't very comfortable. They just simply aren't, because there's nothing to hold your foot and to give you that perception of padding around it. But for some reason, Mizuno still managed to incorporate the padded sensation from the leather in the toe box. You know, the receptive willingness, so to speak, if that's something you can say in English, to kind of mold to your foot well without being stiff or it just feels very wholesome when you put on the boot, because you get a little bit from both worlds of feel. You both get comfort and you get that really super lightweight, very sleek, trimmed down, sculpted performance sensation from it as well.
Like, my impression of this is if you remember the day, we spent the whole day wearing Rebula 3s and we were messing around all day long, and we were both like, wow, these are great. Like, it's not going to get better than this. And then we put these on at the end of the day as we were like super tired and super sunburned. And I put them on and I'm like, oh my gosh, these arguably feel even better. And I was so surprised. And I think what's unique about this boot is when you think lightweight, tight fitting speed boots, you kind of expect this squeezing your foot sensation. Like, that's just part of wearing a speed boot. And that comes along with responsiveness and stuff. That's just part of it. But this is super lightweight and super comfortable at the same time, to where it's one of the only boots that I've ever worn that almost feels like you're not wearing anything, just because of how comfortable it is. It's a weird thing to describe, because again, it's not the style of football boot that I would typically go for. If you were to put the Rebula and the Beta in front of me and ask me to choose, not having worn either of them, I'd pick the Rebula every single time. But having tried both, these are just, I can't believe how good they are.
And that's really the thing, because they give you everything you want from both a leather boot and a speed boot. So, but they're not restrictive. They're, as you say, you don't really notice they're there, because you have no pressure points. You have nowhere where your foot has to adjust to the boot. The boot adjusts instantaneously to your foot. And it's like super lightweight. And for me, the craziest thing was how much on my toes I felt, how close to the ball I felt, while still having the sensation of being extremely comfortable inside the boots within seconds of putting them on. I felt a lot like I was wearing, again, a modern, better working, more comfortable version of the Vapor 1K. So, of course, thinner and lighter. But it really blew my mind how much of what I want in a football boot had been combined into one.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
No.
But once you try them on, you'll get it. And
You will get it. And if this is just the beta stage of the future Morelia Neo, then it's gonna be very, very crazy when Mizuno make it better than the beta.
What comes after beta? Because he goes, you have alpha, then beta.
Yeah.
And what's the third one?
I don't know what the Latin word for C is, but then you have Delta. But I've never heard of like a Delta project before, as in, for development and stuff. No. So I'm not really sure, to be honest. I think it's the next thing is the final thing. So maybe it's a hint that something is in the works, and I would love it to be true. Because Lord knows we need a new Morelia Neo. I mean, I know they tweaked it when they made the Morelia Neo 2, and it was for the better where they fixed the heel. I spent a long time in my Morelia Neo 1s and thought, okay, the heel could be better without trying the 2s. So I did, and I love him, and it would be a boot that would be hard to fix. If I have one complaint here, it would be about the outsole. Again, I know that it's a very comfortable outsole. It does its job well, but I still want it to compete more with the X's, the Mercurials, hell, even the Furons out there. The Puma 1 has a better, faster feeling outsole than the Morelia Neo. And that to me is just something that could be improved from the Mizuno side. I know it's probably never gonna, but I would like it at least.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, because I think the Rebula technically offers better traction.
Yes. And that's just not right.
Yeah.
But for me, the beta just it embodies something that I never really thought I should find in a football boot, where my perception of the boot in my hand doesn't match what I feel on my foot. What I'm expecting is not what I'm getting. It's way better what I'm getting. Do you know what I mean? It's not how it's supposed to be. It's weird.
Yeah, because I mean, if they didn't call it beta, they could have called it like Morelia Neo 2 Super Light, like an SL, because that's kind of what they've done here. It's just that typically when you strip down a boot that's already very thin and already stripped down, it gets worse. Because if you look at like the Evo Speed SLs and the 99 gram Addy Zero, you put that on your foot and you're like, oh my gosh, this doesn't feel like it's actually made to be played in.
No,
that's not the sensation you get from this boot at all. It just... They got it right. That's all I can say.
And the funny thing is that it's not because they've used some super new hardcore innovation tech. They've used tech that's been widely available for years. They've just perfected it to such an extent that the boot just feels more holistic than other speed boots out there, and it's a really funny sensation.
That's fair.
And for me, it's strongly gonna rival the Mercurial Vapor 13 for the throne of speed boots. It's actually that good. I never thought, well, I knew the beta was coming when I tried the Vapor 13, so I kind of knew what to expect, but it's a very big thing for me to say that it's as good, if not to some people better than the Vapor 13, because the Vapor 13 is really good.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Would you rather wear the beta or the Vapor 13?
What a clever question. Where did that come from? Oh.
Right now, you got to play in 1 hour. What are you putting on your feet?
Vapor 13s.
Vapor 13s.
Yes, because of the outsole.
You know what? Again, not my style of boot. I'm with you on the Vapor 13 really just being that good, but I'd pick the beta. I prefer the more soft feel that it has on offer versus the Vapor.
Yeah. And to be honest, I could also have said the Morelia Neo Beta, and I probably wouldn't have regretted my choice. We're up there.
Yeah. I think if you're talking about the two best speed boots on the market right now.
And two best speed boots for a while.
Yeah, I don't see... You know what's also interesting about these? Now it just comes to me. Usually when you strip down a boot this much and make it this lightweight, you're worried about it falling apart in like 8 minutes.
Oh, please.
You don't, right? You don't get that sense with this boot. It feels remarkably solid on your feet, all things considered.
Yeah, and it is made in Japan by Mizuno, so of course it is. It's gonna last. And the good thing, you might be sitting out there thinking, "Hey, Jay, Josh, why should I buy a boot that I don't know anything about apart from what you've just told me, and take the risk and play with this rather than the Vapor that is, tried and trusted?" But the thing is that if you actually go out, you buy your Mizuno boots at unisportstore.com, well, Mizuno actually offer a 30-day satisfaction guarantee, which means that if you for some reason don't like your boots, even if you've played in them, you can send them back, get your money back. I mean, they believe so much in their products that they know that even if people just think, oh, I'm just going to try and see what's up, they end up liking the product so much that they don't send them back. And it's actually a thing.
That's
Can you
really
believe
cool. I didn't know that was a thing. That's really cool. Man, if they had that when I was a kid, you know how many more boots? I already wasted all the money I had to my name on boots. If that was a thing, because this would have been me, I would have bought them all with any kind of like 30-day guarantee, and I would have just kept them anyways.
Exactly.
Like I think if you're a true boot nerd, even if you get a pair of boots and you're slightly disappointed with them, they're still your boots and you kind of just don't want to get rid of them.
No. It's a part of the, it's like, you take some knocks here and there and you live, you learn, right? It's a memory, just like a scar. It's a memory. So for me, having the Bizarro 2s on my shelf is like a very, very, very big scar that I'm never gonna make that mistake again. So okay, a massively underrated boot, a boot that deserves more people to talk about, the Morelia Neo Beta. But another boot that I feel is also not getting the appreciation, although it's not as good as the Beta, is not getting the appreciation it should get, for me at least. Which is, it's not the Tekela 2 Beta, but it is better than the Tekela 1.
Very well done. It's good.
I don't.
That was a good one.
Don't sound so sarcastic, man. That awkward silence you had just after the joke was. I'm gonna blame the internet. It was because of delays and stuff. Anyways, the Tekela 2 here is basically more of the same from the Tekela 1, but as you can kind of see, they trimmed it down. So they made it a little less chunky. They made it more streamlined, but it keeps more or less all the tech points from the one. So you still have a very soft synthetic upper here. You have the kinetic stitch, which has been, I feel it's been somehow flattened, so it's not as chunky, but you still get a whole lot of texture. You get a very, very good structure in the forefoot as well, which was great about the first Tekela. The toe box has been made a little bit lower, so there's less volume in it, and in general, the overall fit, it feels like they've used a slimmer last, so it's not as overly wide and floaty as I feel the first was. But what was great about the first was that it was ridiculously soft. The upper was amazing. It had a very nice plush sensation to it on the ball, and it was just ridiculously comfortable. And to me, I feel it's the same thing they're giving us in the Tekela 2, but just in a more streamlined, trimmed down package that's still light, better fit around the ankle, well performing outsole without being mind-blowing. But it's just one of those boots that for the price, there's a lot of quality in this.
Yeah, I mean, I was a big fan of the original Tekela, but I think now that we have the second generation of the boot, you can really see that New Balance, it almost seems like a lot of the mistakes they made with the first Tekela were for the sake of having kind of a unique aesthetic to the boot, where it had this kind of slightly different shape. The cut at the ankle was a little bit different. The shorter lacing system gave it a slightly different look as well, which in a way made the boot unique and kind of cool in its own, doing its own thing, but it didn't really make for a better product. And I think with the Tekela 2, they said, okay, let's take everything that was good about the first one and then just make the small changes that should have been made on the very first generation. And the final product is ultimately improved. The deeper lacing system just goes a long way in terms of the boot feeling much more secure, locked down, and strapping your foot more closely.
It simply doesn't feel as sluggish anymore. And that was a problem, especially for me, who has a pretty slim foot, that the old Tekela, while it felt amazing on foot, it also felt like I was kind of sliding around inside the boot just a little bit, even with grip socks and the laces completely tight, because, the lockdown wasn't as good all the way down. It's also a problem I've had on the Furons with the really shallow lacing. So this just goes for, with a deeper lacing, you also have more options to basically customize your fit, because you can tighten it and loosen it up in basically a bigger area than you can in the Tekela one. So a thinner upper package, basically making it a little less clumsy, thinner and more, should we say, slimmer last. Yeah, that's the right word. I would say the outsole has also been, as she showed you, it's been trimmed down a little, so the studs aren't as, I would say, they aren't as thick. And they've been made a little more angular, so it does indeed feel a bit more modern to the way it grips in the ground. You do have a little bit more bite, but it's still very comfortable and rotates well inside the ground. So very great boot, and for me, it's just even a silhouette that screams, I'm sleek, I'm elegant, I'm comfortable.
It's a good way to put it. Not to compare the Tekela to the Beta, but the first Tekela was one of the first boots that I feel like I put on, and I legitimately felt like this upper is as soft as it's going to be pretty much right out of the box. Because pretty much any football boot you buy, there's some kind of an adjustment period in regards to the feel of the upper. And the original Tekela, same with the Tekela 2, doesn't really have that. It's just the upper is what it is, and it's always going to be that. You get that sense with the Beta as well, which again is so surprising coming from the Neo 2, which was a little bit of
ridiculously soft.
It's a little bit of a stiffer boot. Let's be fair.
But the leather is very, very soft, right? And it gets softer on the Beta, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, but the Tekela is really, if you're one of those people that just does not like breaking in your boots and you want them just instantaneously feel how they're supposed to feel, straight out of the box, it's hard to beat something like that.
And I'm just going to say, this is, if you're one of those guys who like to be, on the lookout for some of the more obscure boots, it's not an obscure brand, New Balance, of course, but you like to go off the beaten path and not get your Mercurials or your Adidas X's or your Puma boots, well, this is one of the best boots that isn't the Mizuno boot that your money can buy out there.
Yeah. I'm glad New Balance is finally doing it right. Because
it's taken a while, right?
Yeah, because they had so many, I don't even know, I don't want to call them disasters, but
let's call them disasters.
I guess looking back, they were disasters, but they're such a reputable footwear brand that it made no sense that they were putting out the boots that they were putting out. I know they don't have the experience in that
but they
category.
Started so well. That's what doesn't make sense. This for me is the best New Balance boot since, or the one I've enjoyed the most since the Vizaro one. I didn't enjoy the Tekela fully, the first model, because it was too wide for me. But this really makes amends, and I think will fit a bit more people, simply because it's been slimmed down a little bit, so it's going to feel more performance-oriented while still being extremely comfortable. And
yeah.
One last thing I noticed is how they actually also removed some of the pads, so the heel can actually hug your foot a little tighter. Which means that you get the improved lockdown both from the middle and from the laces and also from the heel. So it actually fits you really nicely and follows your movement as well. Great underrated boot, and while it's not again as nice as the Neo Beta, I would choose the Beta any day of the week. It's very, very solid.
Yeah. That's two of the very underrated boots that are out there that happen to be the newest as well. Is there anything else that you would say is criminally underrated?
I would say both the Puma 1 and the King Platinums are very underrated. What else would there be?
I think there's an argument for the Puma Future 4.1 low. I think that's I have some gripes with the knitted upper. I still think the upper is maybe too hard.
Yeah, it's too
as
stiff,
far as
right?
knitted uppers go.
Yeah, it's too stiff and bulky for me.
But if you like that type of feel,
definitely,
then that's a great boot that doesn't get the attention.
Speaking about that, I said in my playtest of them that they reminded me a little bit of what they had some vibes from the Predator Accelerator. Now you've tried him. What do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of got, what it immediately reminded me of was the Hypervenom Phantom 3 with its kind of 3D flying it upper.
Just a stiffer version of it, right?
Yeah, it's a much stiffer version, but I get the Accelerator comparison based on the fact that how hard those little bump outs in the upper are. So it kind of does seem like the little striking elements all the way through. It's hard to say that it feels quite like an Accelerator.
Oh, it doesn't. It doesn't.
but yeah, the comparison makes more sense now that you don't even need to try the boots. You just need to hold them in your hands. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Have you tried the new Umbro?
UX Actuals? No, I haven't, but they look very good.
The orange ones. These are not bad.
Yeah, it just looks as if the heel tap creates a very weird opening with too much excess space around the back part of the heel when people move in them.
Yeah, it's cut a little bit lower than I think it should be at the back, and this extension piece is just unnecessary. But the boots as a whole with this D3O foam really does feel like they're super, super thin, but the touch on the ball is not necessarily where you feel like there's no padding at all. There's just a little bit of padding. It's a little bit weird.
Yeah, but I've seen them in hand. I just haven't tried them on feet, and the technology straight up works. I mean, we have this little, basically a little chunk of the D3O material and a metal ball, and you can basically see how much rebound you get from that compared to other materials. So it's great. The upper is super thin, very, very soft, and it has that nice UX Acuro cut that you expect from the first boot, at least. That was awesome. Just sleeker and thinner. I think. I will believe you when you say that's also very underrated.
Yeah, I think it's good. Also, just the Lotto, pretty much almost anything Lotto right now.
How could we forget, man? The Maestros especially, but also the Solistas are not bad. And again, criminally priced, basically. Less than 100 euros, unisportstore.com. You heard it here first. Go and buy them before they sell out, because people are starting to realize that these boots are awesome. They're basically the biggest deal of 2019. So if you want a pair, you got to go and get them. But, Josh, quick roundup here. Neo Beta or the Tekelas?
For me, Neo Beta.
Same.
That's a top three
It's a
boot
ridiculous
for me now.
question. Yes, I would agree.
It's that good.
Yeah.
And if you just said, hey, Josh, in 6 months, you're going to like a Morelia Neo II Beta over other boots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you rate the highest right now? What's your top three? Super quick.
Top three right now. Neo Beta is up there. In no order. I'm just naming the top three.
Yeah.
Neo Beta. Phantom Venom I really like. And I don't want to say Rebula because I feel like I'm swapping the Beta out for the Rebula, but the Rebula is definitely up there. I really like the Tekela as well. I'm making this a top 5, Jay. You can't stop me. Nothing you can do about it. And you know what? I really like the Puma King Platinum.
Yes, that's also very good.
I really like that.
Good. I will be able to make a top 4.
So you asked the question, you're not even going to follow your own rules. I love it.
Because I can't decide between I have the Vapor 13 in no particular order. Vapor 13, Copa 19 Plus, Rebula, and the Neo Beta. I will need to play a little more in the Beta just to see if I want them to replace the Copa or the Rebula. But
you know what?
It's a
the
tough
Beta
one.
reminds me a lot of the Copa 19 Plus. That's probably the best comparison in terms of touch.
But the Copa is just thicker, I feel. So it's a different touch on the ball. The Beta is sharper. The Copa is more plush.
But that would be, I think, the closest, aside from comparing it to a regular Morelia Neo 2, that's probably the closest in terms of just experience, I would say.
Yeah. I would actually say, what I have on my list, top 4, is that the Vapor and the Beta will compete for what they do because they feel kind of similar. And then the Rebula and the Copa for me because they're all about that plush premium leather experience. But that's just me. But let's not forget that we also have some questions to answer. So we should jump into that now so we have a bit of time for it. Now, I'm going to say it again. If you haven't already asked a question, what are you on about? There must be something you want to know, and we basically take our time to answer your questions, the best ones. So if you have a good one, type it in the comment section right down below. And Josh, I think you should get the honor of kicking off the first question in the 30th episode of the Boot Connoisseurs podcast.
Oh, I like that. Yes, I have a question from Reason Pumpfree. He says, Boot Nerds, I recently broke my main cleats and I'm in the market for a new pair. I'm torn between a few models, the Lotto Maestro, the Puma King Platinum, and the Nemesis 19.1. Am I going to be disappointed with any one of those options? Which one would you buy?
No and yes. See, the thing is that I probably personally would go for the King Platinums, but depending on what you're looking for, they're kind of different boots, right? So the Maestros feel a little more like they have a bit of a Hypervenom 1 feel to them, but also a slight a Magista Opus 1 feel. So it's kind of like a hybrid between those two, and it's very, very cheap. So no matter what, I would almost just go and buy those on top of what you get as well. Because it's like 80, it's ridiculous. I would probably go for the right? Yeah. I mean, you can't go wrong with those, even though you hate them. It's like just go and buy them. But I would probably go for the King Platinums because they are such a full package: leather, comfort, lightweight, responsiveness. It's amazing.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think King Platinum would be my pick out of those three. But you're right in saying that you could basically buy 2 pairs of the Lottos.
Yeah.
For 1 pair of Platinums or the Nemesis. And let's not discount the Nemesis 19.1. I don't think it's a bad boot at all.
It's a great boot. It's a great boot.
But I think I know it's agility boot, but it's a speed boot. Let's not kid ourselves, right? I think that it just, what it does really, really well, there's also like just major downsides. I just feel like it's too chunky for a speed boot.
I agree. But with that said, I have included it in the official Unisport Top 5 Speed Boots of 2019. So it's like, it's official. It's out there. It's a speed boot.
But it's one of those ones, I think if you're putting it in a top 5, it's like, right, it's just getting on the list.
Yeah.
It's not in the upper part.
I had it at number 4, yeah. But, it was, for me, it's better than the Furon, to be honest. The Furon is also a decent speed boot, but I had it as number 5, just above the Lotto Solista because of the lack of grip from the outsole. I feel, and it's a little too heavy for me. But I feel the Nemesis is also, it's a very strong contender for, for those, lower spots on the speed boot top 5. And then there's a massive gap from there and until the Neo.
Cool. All right.
Cool.
Hope that helped.
Right. Then we have Present Ram. Does the color on the Superfly create a different experience from the Vapor? Now, let me go and get a Vapor on the Superfly, and I'll let you explain very briefly why there might or might not be a difference.
Okay, so the Vapor and the Superfly. Let's start with the basics. They're both Mercurials. We know this. They're both made by Nike. And they both apparently have ACC technology, although it's not been stated anywhere on the boots. Jay, I've covered that they're both Mercurials. They're both made by Nike, and they both have ACC.
Wow, you're some sort of boot genius. Are you a nerd?
Yeah, I know. I just wanted to make sure that everyone was clear on this.
Okay. So basically, it's the same boot, but there's a collar on the Superfly. Next question, please. Honestly, it's... I also covered this in my Superfly 7 review. If you haven't seen it on the Unisport channel, you can go on there and check it out. But my main gripe with the Superfly, while I love the boot, it's a fantastic boot, the best Superfly performance-wise that's ever been made, but it's just not a Superfly. I mean, it's a Vapor with a color. This is not what a Superfly is meant to be, right? The Superfly is meant to be, we've talked about it till lengths, but I'm going to rant about it again because I'm mad. Like, the Superfly is supposed to be high innovation, uniqueness, something to set it apart. That's the DNA of the boot. It's not there. Christ's sake, man. The Superfly 7 is a Vapor DF. That's how it is. So there's no big difference. Maybe you like the compressed sensation around your ankle from the collar. If you like that, get the Superfly. If you prefer to be low, get the Vapor. It's the same experience.
Yeah, but what about the ankle support?
Oh, there's none of it. If you go Superfly 7 or Vapor 13, you don't get ankle support. I know what you're trying to do, and I love it.
I know. You seemed a little triggered there, so I figured I'd just throw that in there. I was hoping for another like mini rant.
Yeah, just mention the Phantom Vision and
he gets all mad. All right, perfect. I hope that answers that. So the Superfly is better than the Vapor because it has a collar. Thanks. Okay, this is a question from Paul Kim. He asks, for those of us inspiring boot nerds, any coupon codes for worldwide shipping from Unisport?
What? So see, the thing is, so okay, let me get it straight. So for people who want to be boot nerds, why on the shipping?
So he's wondering He's basically wondering if there is any coupon code that maybe not just Unisport, but any retailer would give you for free international shipping. Does such a code exist?
Bro, I mean, we love to help out and stuff, but I mean, why the shipping? The shipping, the shipping's the shipping. We pay for the shipping, so that doesn't really work out. We have to pay whatever you pay for the shipping anyway, so we would basically just be discounting the. I mean, I'm not sure I understand the question.
This is a question that I get a lot because a lot of people. There's people in Europe that want to buy from the US, and there's people in the US that want to buy from Europe or whatever other part of the world it might be.
Exactly.
Right?
And if you want to do that, by the way, you can use unisportstore.com. I'm just saying. Shameless plug.
Definitely a possibility. But when you do that, you are now shipping from one country to the next, which is international shipping, which
and
every single retailer. Sure. I mean, Unisport, you guys could realistically, Jay, like you could start your own mail company and then Jay, you'd order boots and Jay would like personally drive the mail truck to your house to deliver them. But unfortunately, no one has that set up yet. So when you're shipping something, you're at the mercy of whatever shipping company or postal service that you're using. And they basically set the prices, not the stores, right? So
no. And
the stores can somewhat control the prices of the products that they're selling, although there's rules with that as well. But when it comes to actually shipping something from Denmark to Canada, as an example, if it's $35 to ship it, it's $35 to ship it no matter what.
Exactly. So in short, no. No,
no, sorry.
Sorry, man. That's just how it goes.
To clarify that.
Right. Christopher. See, now I'm going to be challenged here. Right. Christopher Pudinkovsky. What would you say are the most comfortable boots on the market today? For me, it's very easy. I would basically say Rebula 3, Tekela 2, and maybe the Puma King Platinums or the Betas. Yeah, I said it.
Ooh, that's a good... I'm with you on Tekela. I think it's a very comfortable football boot.
Copa 19 plus.
I can't say that for me. Because it's still, my heel slips and I haven't gotten any blisters from the boots, but it's just anytime I feel any kind of slip, I'm concerned.
Okay.
It makes me nervous.
Amateur.
I'm I'm with you on the Beta. The Beta feels like it's a football boot that I play in and I feel like I'm wearing nothing, which is good. I like that. I still think there's something about the Nike Premier 2 that I find really comfortable.
And doesn't lock my foot in enough for me. It simply just, it feels insecure to me. I get worried in the Premier. It just doesn't feel, it feels sloppy for me to I mean, yeah, it's soft and plush and all that stuff, but not for me. Not for me though, but fair enough.
That's fair. And I'm going to say as well, Adidas X, either 18.1 or 19.1. I find those to be extremely comfortable as well.
Wow, okay.
So it's weird picks for me. But
I'd
think comfort's so personal.
I'd probably rather go Vapor than X. I feel the Vapors are much more comfortable than the X's. But
really?
That's just me. Yeah, because they're so ridiculously soft. They give me confidence. But I mean, but for me, the most comfortable ones are easily the Tekelas and the Rebulas and maybe the Copas as well. Betas are very nice, but those would be my top three.
That's fair. Okay. Yeah, comfort's so personal, right?
Exactly.
Everyone likes something a little bit different.
So
also, I wanted to point out that I feel like the one part of the podcast where you're challenged the most is reading the names.
Yeah,
I like it.
I know, but that is because I'm half blind, but also because people have funny names.
I know, it is hard to read usernames.
Yeah, I know. And also, I have this very small MacBook so the screen resolution is not the best and they're small names. So, and I'm blind. Did I mention that? I'm very...
You did.
So, condescending quotation marks. Very fantastic name. Hey guys, if there was a lineup reset at Nike or Adidas like what Adi did a few years back and you guys would head the rebuild, what line/tech would you create, bring back, tweak, remove for each brand? By the way, great episode again. Thanks, my man. See, it's a fantastic question. We could talk about this for years, but you had it up. 2 girls over drinks.
We're killing one line and replacing it with something else.
Right.
We're not going to reset the entire brand.
No.
Okay. Oh, okay. Let's start with Nike.
I mean, he asks if we did a reset, but I wouldn't do a reset right now at any of the brands. So let's just kill one line. Yeah.
Yeah, that's too hard. One line killing. I'm killing the Phantom Vision. Woohoo! And I'm bringing back the CTR 360 because I think that is a brilliant name for a control boot. I think it just makes sense. Like there's a vision. Like if a name could if you could see a name and automatically understand what it's about, like Mercurial, I think is just associated with speed. And when you see CTR 360, I immediately reminds me of Control. I don't know why. It's very smart by Nike, but they decided to kill it. And I would bring back, I talked about this in a video, I would bring back some form of Kangalite or do some kind of a material for the upper that is not knitted.
I feel you kind of... So you're going with the easy route here, right? It's been the Prügelknabe for a while at the podcast, particularly because of me, the Phantom Vision. Now I'm just thinking, I'm trying to think outside the box here a little bit. I would consider actually rethinking both Phantom Vision and Tiempo. And stay with me here because I don't want to kill Tiempo, but Tiempo needs a reset right now. It needs to think. I would probably keep the Phantom Vision, and put Tiempo to rest for a couple years, because I would then merge what Tiempo and Phantom Vision are and make that one thing. So I would kill the current Phantom Vision and put Tiempo to rest for now. Because I feel that the Tiempo right now, it doesn't know where it's going. It was a bit like the Predator. It doesn't really know where it wants to go and what it wants to be. And it kind of wants to be a control-inspired boot, but it can't because of the Phantom Visions. Why not just embrace the fact that it wants to be two things at once and then just do it? I mean, they use the same tech anyways in the quad fit mesh. So I mean, do it.
So it's you're saying it's one too many lines from Nike, basically.
At the moment, for what their products are, yes. I feel there's too much overlapping right now. And I would probably, take a stance against that and try to bring something unique instead. If I even wanted to introduce a new line.
That's fair. I thought for sure you were going to kill the Superfly. That's what I thought you were going to do.
Yeah. But is that a line? I mean, can I kill the Superfly? Is that a line?
You can kill the Superfly.
I can kill the Superfly. Okay, that would be my first.
So kill the Superfly and then bring it back as not a vapor.
Yes, exactly. That would probably be my first line of business. Kill the Superfly and then maybe look into Tiempo and Phantom. Because, I mean, it works right now. They can live together, but I really feel Nike should do something about it, though. Yeah, let's not go into that.
Okay, wait, here's just an idea I came up with. Take away whatever line. I think Vision would probably be the one line that Nike would be most willing to just scrap if they really had to. What do you think would do better? Phantom Vision 2 or a Cristiano Ronaldo signature line? What would do better?
Phantom Vision 2.
You think so?
Yes.
Really?
Because I don't think the people who would really... Ronaldo's signature line is probably not what the brand wants to do right now because he can still play for a lot of years, but I think maybe the Ronaldo hype has it has peaked. And I think now would maybe not be the time to introduce an entire line for him like Adi did with Messi. For me, that would be too big of a risk. So I would rather take a Phantom Vision 2 and then turn it into something that's not the Phantom Vision 1.
So it's just too late, you're saying?
I would say that, yeah. With all my love and respect to Cristiano, big man.
Yeah. So do you think, just because I'm throwing it out there, because Nike did do this at one point, they had Ronaldinho is really the only man to ever have his own signature boot.
Right.
Right. It wasn't just a colorway. It was like a separate Tiempo, basically.
Yep.
Do you think that Nike will ever do a signature boot again for football boots?
Honestly,
obviously they do all kinds of signatures in all their other sports, but not in football boots.
I don't think so. No, simply because that footballers tend to have, at least until this thing with grown-ups not wanting to wear another, star's name because it might be seen as a little bit childish in football to wear a big CR7 branded boot or Messi boot or Neymar, whatever. I mean, there's a reason they're cutting down the size of the logos, cutting away the Messi line. People don't want to buy it.
Yeah.
What would you say? What would you say?
No, I'm kind of with you, but at the same time, I feel like it could work. I mean, look at, I know basketball is a totally different sport, but look how successful Jordan brand has been for Nike.
Yeah.
I think that Ronaldo line has the potential. And I think if it were to exist, it would have to be some variant of a Mercurial because it wouldn't make sense if it was anything else. And again, it'd be variation for the sake of variation more than anything. I'm not sure that there's enough tech in the football boot industry to justify a separate line, because they'd have to have something that was like defining for that boot.
And then you're just going to cannibalize the Mercurial, and I'm not sure they want to do that because that is their cash cow. I mean, that is their superstar, right? So
yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
Nike's a tough brand.
At least not yet. I don't think football is ready for that yet, but maybe in a few years, 10 years, when Ronaldo has retired, we can look into this again.
Mm-hmm. All right.
So we'll talk about it in Boot Nerds episode 362.
Yeah. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Let's do 2 more questions.
Okay. I don't have any more questions.
Wow. Okay. Right. Then we're just going to do one more question and say, well, quick one here. Lennon Grimley. Hey, Jamina and Jay, I have a sort of wide featured up by the new Superfly 7s. You can, but no.
Yeah, probably not a great idea.
Yeah. Mohammed Murad 10. If you had the chance to have a player / manager / legend / boot designer in the podcast, who would you choose and why?
Did we answer this? Maybe 3 or 4 or 5 episodes ago? I want to say we did.
Something similar, yeah. And I think we agreed on Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
I think that's what I said as an answer would be really good.
Yeah.
And I think you answered Denis Dekovic for a boot designer.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to say. But it's now 3-4 weeks later. Do you have a new answer?
Zlatan Ibrahimovic. I really want to ask him a lot of questions right now.
I know, and he's been so good lately with just media. He's really...
Maybe also, I'd like Gareth Bale.
That's a very interesting situation right now. What's going through that guy's head?
Honestly, I mean, it must be really, you got to have nerves and balls of steel to be so clearly unwanted somewhere, with so many fans being influenced by Zidane's. I would say also big up Zidane, legend, but I mean, he's not necessarily playing it nice. He ice cold, man. And he makes a lot of money. I wouldn't mind to chill in Spain and play golf, but I mean, do you want to look yourself in the eye 10 years from now and say, okay, this is my decision. I'm just throwing my career out the window for money.
Yeah, but it's I don't blame Zidane as much for this situation because he's been not wanted in Madrid, I would say, for the last 2 seasons, maybe 3. He really has not been a major part of that team. And yeah, he's had some important goals in the club's history. And I was looking at some stats, his stats in comparison to the greatest of the great in regards to Real Madrid history, and he has better stats than most of them.
And that's the thing. For me, honestly, I'm just going to put it out there. Yes, he's been injured a lot, and probably that's the reason why people haven't really taken to him, because he's a bit of a liability because of the injuries. But I would say that the Real Madrid fans don't deserve Gareth Bale unsung. They simply don't appreciate what this man can do. I don't want him coming to United now. No, he's done. But I'm just going to say the level the lack of appreciation for what Gareth Bale has done for them. I mean, he basically won them the Champions League final against Liverpool. It's just insane how quickly football fans forget. And
that's just it. The reason why, they can't get rid of him because of this contract, but he only got that contract because of what he did.
Exactly.
Up until that point.
It's not Gareth Bale's fault in any way. Real Madrid have messed up, and now they have to face the consequences. And for once, I love to see that they can't just do whatever they want. They can't just influence everything in the media. And someone's just saying, "Look, you guys screwed up. I'm staying. You can't do nothing." That's just the way it is.
I don't blame him. Look, I was one of the people that really ripped on Neymar for going to PSG, clearly for the sake of money. But at the same time, I don't blame him for being like, you're a professional athlete. You have like a 10-year window to make as much money as possible. Yeah. Go and do that.
Yeah.
The fact what he's doing now, trying to like force his way out, I think is totally ridiculous. Not a huge fan of that.
There are a lot of ridiculous clubs around at the moment. Bayern Munich with their, ridiculous pursuit of Leroy Sané. Man City should just go and tell them to stick it. And then Barcelona and the whole Griezmann saga, and trying to bring name. I'm not buying it. I don't like it. Very,
very, very scammy. But Bale, it's like I don't want to go play. I wouldn't want to go play in China.
No, he shouldn't.
Like why should he go do that?
Yeah.
And why should he earned that contract? He made that money, and I get that. Oh, he should want to like uphold his legacy and go play at a top club. But look, I wouldn't want to give up $100 million either.
Oh hell no! They gave it to him. He earned it. Why would he? It's his money. He's got it coming. I mean, I'm gonna hold my hands up. I'm with Gareth Bale here.
So am I. I feel bad for the guy, actually.
Yeah.
He's going to do fine. He'll be fine.
I think he will. Who will also be fine is you guys out there, because what's going to happen now is that we are going to end today's episode of the Boot Nerds/Connoisseurs podcast. But fear not, my friends. There are 29 more episodes that you can find in the playlist somewhere, hopefully over to your right in the suggested videos. If they aren't suggested, it's because YouTube sucks. What you can also do is go make sure that you see every new video that comes out by subscribing to the channel, hitting the bell notification button. All you have to do is click the black logo in the middle of the screen. You can also go and check Josh's channel out, subscribe to that, check it out at Unisport Store.com. Go shop all your latest boots over at unisportstore.com. And finally, leave a question in the comment section right down below. Og med de ord, så er jeg JayMike, og jeg godkender den her besked. Tak for nu.
Josh. Yeah.